Hello, my name is Elvia Morales, and I'm going to be presenting observational learning. Observational learning can be defined as the learning that occurs by observing behaviors and the consequences of those behaviors. We are often observing behaviors in our world to learn from them. But how do we learn? We learn by observation of events happening around us. We learn by watching others perform an action or behavior, and then we try to imitate it. The first observational learning experiment was done in 1898 by Thorndike, and he did these experiments on animals. Since then, there's been many studies done on observational learning to try to understand the concept better. The first study I'm going to talk about in this presentation is a study done by Burke and colleagues in 2010. They named it Neuromechanisms of Observational Learning. And the purpose of this study was to explain the role of behavioral and neural learning mechanisms in humans. There are some key concepts that are important to understand in the study, which are observational action prediction errors and observational outcome prediction errors. Observational action prediction errors refers to the different action from expected behavior. For example, when we see a person smiling and we think they're happy, but then later find out that they're smiling because they're nervous. The expected behavior is different from what we were anticipating. Observational outcome prediction errors, it refers to the wrong outcome predicted when you say an outcome is gonna happen and then something different happens. For example, when you see a student in class not taking notes or not engaging in class, and then you think, oh, this student is going to fail the exam because he or she is not paying attention, but then they do well on the exam, then we are wrong. We predict the outcome wrong because maybe they have a different method to study, or they're just super smart that they get all the information just by watching and listening. According to this study, humans learn by observing, and that is seen since we are born to or throughout all our lives. During the study, 23 participants were included, and they vary from ages 18 to 38 years of age. Some of the methods used here were learning a logarithm to measure action value learning to get a better accurate measurement of this behavior. The results found in the study show that better outcomes after watching actions and outcomes of the behavior are higher than only watching actions. But also some limitations of the study are the emotions and prior social experiences were not included. So in addition, there were no clear guidelines included in the study, so it is unclear to define whether it or not is ethical. And this is a graph showing some of these results. The second study was done by Podi and colleagues, and they named in 2018. And their study is named, Are Young Children Able to Learn Exploratory Strategies by Observation? The purpose of the study is to determine whether children can perform a behavior by observing an adult do it. And some key concepts that are important to understand the study are experimental learning and observational learning. Experimental learning refers to the learning that is acquired by direct experience, let's say hands-on learning. And we can see this an example like children learn from sensory play. They learn from touching different textures and different things with their hands. Observational learning is learning that is gained or acquired by watching others' behaviors. One example would be children learning from social behaviors, watching their parents, grandparents, or just people in general perform an action or behave a certain way, and they'll try to imitate that behavior. The study says that a more structured approach has better outcomes than a less structured approach. And the sample included were 36 children between 4 and 5 years of age. The methods they use, they divided the participants into 3 categories, which were high explorative strategies, random explorative strategies, and learning by doing. The results of the experiment show that high structure strategies led to children having fewer errors in behavior, so they were more accurate when they perform a behavior, because they try to imitate as close as possible the action, so they make less errors. But some limitations of the study are the quality and the consistency of the observation, because children have a hard time staying still and pay attention to something for a long time. It is a little difficult to rely on these measures. Maybe in future studies, all the children can be included, so that way it has more reliability. The guidelines followed by this study follow the Declaration of Helsinki from 1964, which leads me to say that the study was done ethically. Lastly, the last study was done by Witten and colleagues in 2016, and the name is Social Learning in the Real World. The purpose of the study is to test the occurrence and relevance of over-imitation in real-world situations. Over-imitation refers to the accuracy of the imitation of a behavior, how closely the behavior is imitated. One example can be a child taking the toy out of a box and tapping the box after watching an adult do it. And they will do the same steps, even tapping the box, which is an unnecessary action. Social learning refers to learning acquired by watching actions and outcomes of the behavior. Children often learn language skills by watching people make sounds, facial expressions, say words, and then they copy those behaviors and those actions, and that's how they learn. According to the study, children and adults over-imitate all the time. Obviously, children that are younger over-imitate more often and are prone to do it more because they are still learning the world around them. The sample included were 93 adults, 64 young children, and 64 older children. The methods was to divide the groups into 2 groups, demonstration group and no demonstration group. During the demonstration group, participants were shown the behavior and then asked to replicate it. The no demonstration group, the participants were not shown a behavior, they just were performing the behavior on their own. The results of the study says that humans learn social skills from very young ages and by observing others. And there have been other studies done on this as well. But some limitations of the study is that there's no experimental control, because the study was done in a naturalistic setting where participants were unaware of being part of the experiment, because it was done in the natural setting. This study was approved by the Psychology Ethics Committee at St. Andrews University, which leads to decide that it was ethical. In conclusion, observational learning allows children to develop knowledge about the world around them. As we've seen in these studies, children start to imitate adult behaviors from a very young age, but we continue to imitate throughout our life and copy behaviors. There have been other research showing that even babies that are a few days old are able to imitate facial expressions that they see on adults, their parents or caregivers. So human beings learn by imitation of actions and watching the outcomes of those actions.